We like to think we're pretty good judges of character here at Outside Xbox. Like, for example, that nice man downstairs who asked if he could sit in my car for a bit because he's thinking of buying the same one. Stand up, fella. Probably just wants to get a sense for the road feel. Even so, imagine our surprise when video game characters who look evil, act suspicious, and have names like Octavian Darkevil turn around and betray us. Who could possibly have seen that coming? Certainly not us. So here are 7 more shady characters we can't believe betrayed you. Enjoy and beware spoilers for the following games.
Are you sure that guy's coming back?
Yeah, I mean, you can't buy a car without feeling what it's like to drive it on the road, Jane. That's just common sense, obviously.
He's on the horizon.
Yes, but you've got to let it run out. You've got to test it at all speeds, Jane. You can't just do low speed stuff. He's probably going to need to get to the motorway, maybe even do a 2 or 3 hour journey just to really understand the comfort level and whether his back aches when he gets out of it at the end.
Well, well, well. Thought you'd just help yourself to a man's personal belongings, huh? You scheming little thief. The gods demand repentance. Cough up your coin. All of it.
For the uninitiated, Patches is the scheming bastard who transcends the boundaries of a single From Software game to screw you over not just in Demon's Souls, but also in Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3, and believe it or not, Armored Core 4 Answer. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 5 or more times, shame on me. Still, when you happen upon this familiar rogue in Elden Ring, maybe you give Patches yet another chance and spare his life when he attacks you in Murkwater Cave.
Wait, please. I surrender. White flag and all.
Don't make me regret it, Patches. Maybe you're convinced people can change their ways when he sets himself up as a merchant selling you useful items. He even gives you a pro tip for navigating the lands between. It involves letting yourself get eaten by a magical Iron Maiden monster, which sounds bad, but it does skip you straight to the almighty Erdtree, apparently.
If you get caught in it on purpose, it'll chuck you out straight at the base of the Erdtree. Or so I'm told.
Ah, thanks, Patches. Saves me looking it up on GameFAQs. Sure, that's nothing to worry about. So off you pop to the Academy of Raya Lucaria to meet with the terrifying Iron Maiden monster and, fighting your every last survival instinct, you feed yourself to her. And die. So, does it spit you out at the Erdtree? Does it buttons? No, instead you revive in an underground torture chamber full of lava and giant bats. Patches! With this confirmation that Patches in Elden Ring is as devious a toe rag as he is in all his prior incarnations, it now really is on you if, when you run into Patches up on Mount Gelmir and he tells you he saw something shiny over the edge of a cliff, you go over there and take a look. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 7 or more times, shame on me, and you also. Shame on you. And a bit me.
Bye now.
Hope you're enjoying the video so far. We will be right back after this message from our sponsor.
Thanks so much to Opera GX for sponsoring this video. Opera GX asked the pretty straightforward question, why do browsers need to be boring? Opera GX, which is designed with gamers in mind, is the world's first interesting internet browser. Central to that is the GX Mods feature, which allows you to either create or download custom themes for the browser to give it a totally different flavour and colour scheme. Take this awesome Graveyard mod, which features an animated background, creepy music, and old school typewriter keystroke sounds straight out of your favourite Resident Evil save room. It even plays an ominous sound when you close a tab. Ask not for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for Eurogamer.net, apparently. All these GX mods can be switched in and out with a single click, and there are tons available in the GX store. There are even web mods that can do things like recolor YouTube to match the theme you have running in Opera GX.
Thanks for coming, boss. Don't let the door hit you in the butt on the way out.
Modception. Opera GX also keeps all of your apps in one convenient place with a sidebar that has Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, Instagram and more. Our personal favourite is the Twitch integration, which shows you right on the sidebar when your favourite streamers are live. And if you're tired of the 800 or so browser tabs you have open hogging resources at crucial moments, you can use GX Control to decide exactly how much CPU, RAM and bandwidth your websites are allowed to occupy at any given moment. It does mean I'll have one less thing to blame for my own terrible performance in games though. That is just a quick look at some of the features available in Opera GX. Head to the link in the description below to download Opera GX today.
If Alpha Protocol is erased, then you're erased. Whatever life you had will be gone. You'll be rogue forever. Until someone finds you and kills you.
So I'll be free then. Is there a downside to this?
If there's one rule for being a secret agent, it's don't tell anyone you're a secret agent.
So, Mike, what brings you to this exciting corner of the world?
Secret agent.
Agent Mike, no. If there are two rules for being a secret agent, especially in a highly classified Black Ops government agency named Alpha Protocol, it's don't tell anyone you're a secret agent and trust no one. In particular, don't trust an agency analyst who doesn't appreciate your workplace quips.
This is a restricted area. The vending machines are down the hall and to the right.
Well, you can go get me something then. Got any animal crackers?
Why are you here?
Who could have guessed your cold and calculating colleague Alan Parker would turn out to be a traitor to his own agency? The man with a name as boring and unmemorable as Alpha Protocol for that matter, and who possesses neither your effortless wit or mirrored shades. It's not as if you're told early doors that there's a mole inside the agency leaking intel to the enemy and grumpy Alan Parker is one of only 4 people you know who work here. Except actually, you are told all that.
I think they have someone inside Alpha Protocol. And whoever it is fed them the coordinates for the missile strike.
So maybe you should be a little on guard against Alan Parker, who, besides managing the tutorial obstacle course for rookies like you, analyses intel and, by his own admission, manipulates geopolitical goings-on.
If the decisions are solely reactive or passive, well, then you operate at a disadvantage.
So sometimes you create events.
For political equilibrium, yes, at times. At other times, to give America an economic advantage.
It turns out these skills and his cold-blooded attitude made Parker the ideal mole for shady defense contractor Halbeck, who are trying to start a new world war.
They don't have the full picture. They think they're starting a Cold War that they can live off of for years.
Whether or not you, a professional spy, had suspected this highly suspicious dude of double-crossery, Parker is perfectly happy to lay it all out for you in the final chapter of the game. Maybe because he doesn't think much of your intelligence.
I was asked to isolate events in the world and create triggers.
You jerk! How dare you betray the Omega Initiative?
Alpha Protocol.
Alpha Protocol. Yeah, right.
You're betraying your own country, Parker. Whatever you think you're doing, it's wrong.
How events proceed depends on how you choose to play your version of Secret Agent Mike Thornton, but for our money, hunting down this treacherous mole is the way to go.
Hope it's worth dying for, because I'm coming for you.
I encourage you to try, if only to give a lesson in humility.
One high-octane mole hunt later and you're gunning down the disloyal analyst who has neither your firearms training or, once again, your mirrored shades. Rest in peace, Arnold Palmer.
Alan Parker.
Alan Parker.
Now it is I who brings him back from there. He is weak and has forgotten much. But he is alive. He's back.
We try not to jump to conclusions about people, so when we met the necromancer Zardas in Gothic 2, we tried to maintain an open mind. Yes, he wears a necklace made of tiny bones and a belt buckle that looks like a spider, and yes, he has the sort of pointy evil guy's shoulder pads that could have someone's eye out if he's not careful, and yes, his voice sounds like he went to the Vincent Price School of Spooky Elocution.
With his final furious scream, the sleeper has set into movement the armies of darkness.
But you know, we were always told not to judge a book by its cover, even if the book looks like a freaking Necronomicon. After all, he's the one who literally brought you, the nameless hero, back to life in order to recover an item called the Eye of Innos and defeat a great army of darkness. And throughout the entire game, he's on hand to guide you on your way.
How can I get to the city?
Just follow the path from here through the mountains. The city is large. You cannot miss it, but watch out. The path to town is not without dangers.
Maybe he's one of those nice necromancers. Maybe he just romances necks. Zardas helps you out during the story right up until the point where you battled the final boss, an undead dragon.
Who are you?
You still have to ask that? Search within yourself, you fool. You know who I am. I bear no name. Just as you bear no name.
Dad? So anyway, you win a glorious battle against this skeletal glowing dragon, who may or may not be related to you, at which point, presumably sensing that the credits are about to roll, Zardas squeezes in his betrayal, explaining that he's absorbed the soul of the dragon to steal its power for himself and align himself with Beliar, the god of darkness.
With the help of Innos, you have defeated the avatar of evil, and I have taken its power unto myself.
I should have known he wasn't romancing necks. And if you're in any doubt as to his evilness, by the beginning of the next game, Gothic 3, he's commanding an army of evil orcs. Until, like something out of pro wrestling, he reveals himself to be good again.
What a triumph it would have been for him to know that I took his side. Once the highest of all the fire mages, now a servant of the dark god. I feigned acceptance of his offer, but I used the knowledge which he granted me against him.
Make your mind up, man. Talk about putting the ass in Zardas.
They say don't judge a book by its cover, but actually, a book cover is a really useful way of finding out what's inside a book. You know, from the title and the writing on the back, and sometimes there's a picture, so... Along similar lines, in Castlevania 64, when you encounter a strange pale boy with purple hair and purple eyes, dressed in aristocratic finery and hanging out in the hedge maze of Castle Dracula, maybe you ought to do a little vibe check. Or should that be a vamp check? Sure, this small child says he was kidnapped from a nearby village, but he also says his name is Malus, which is the Latin word for evil and also the Latin word for apple. And he don't look like no apple to me. No time to think about that, because then you're helping Malus flee angry dogs through the leafy labyrinths. Ah! Help me! Escorting him to the exit of the maze and seemingly to safety, away from Dracula's accursed castle. Whew, chalk up one child rescue to vampire killer Reinhard Schneider. Except later, having fought your way into and through the castle, you find Malus just hanging out when he ought to have escaped, stood amongst shelves of jars filled with suspiciously red liquid and having a sinister little giggle. This is fine and normal child behaviour, you think to yourself. Tweens these days, they're always saying stuff like, all living creatures must consecrate their souls to the Dark Lord. It's probably a TikTok thing. Malus flees again, and again, expert vampire hunter Reinhardt of the legendary vampire hunting Belmont clan is oblivious, baffled even. In the finale of the game, you can therefore consider Reinhardt totally unspoiled, re the shocking plot twist where he, primed for a confrontation with Dracula himself, is again met with Malus, who is this time atop an evil flying horse with bat wings, saying stuff like, "Enough, now you meet the Dark Lord himself." By George, I think he's got it. Yes, Malus is incredibly not merely a creepy waif, but actually the reincarnation of Dracula, who had apparently been holding on for the perfect moment to transform into his true, more shirtless form. There ensues the climactic battle between Vampire Killer and Vampire Lord, wherein Dracula transforms again into his even truer, equally shirtless form of a fire-breathing centipede dragon, which Reinhardt must slay to save the day and prevent anyone from learning the embarrassing truth that he hadn't clocked Malus much earlier. Which, yeah, he'd never live that down. It would be almost as embarrassing as the bad ending of the game, in which you take too long to reach the finale, never defeat Dracula, never discover Malus's secrets, and in fact, you take the boy home with you, still none the wiser as Malus's eyes flash an evil red, and then game over. So when do you think he will realise? Like when the fangs go in, or never?
Hurry! We ain't got long. Hurry! We just got plenty of time, Micah. We all need to have a little chat. Black Lung, you're back. Hooray.
In Rockstar's sprawling masterpiece Red Dead Redemption 2, you play the way you choose. Going wherever you like, wearing whatever you like, and doing whatever you like. Except the one thing you really want to do, which is shoot Micah Bell in the face in the first hour of the game.
Was you followed? No. Was you followed? I said no. Okay.
Micah Bell, as if you needed reminding, was your fellow gang member, the one with the handlebar mustache and the bad attitude, who you still, for some reason, broke out of jail. Eventually.
This wall just needs some good forcing.
If anyone deserved to be the one to kill Micah, it's Arthur Morgan, who endured Micah's antagonising for those tens of hours and didn't once shoot him in the face, despite Arthur having no fewer than 3 guns on his person at any given moment, and even more on his horse.
Are you all right, Morgan? You seem very tense.
Shut up.
Honestly, the restraint is superhuman. That's before you get into how Micah was as shifty as he was annoying, and even sweet, trusting Arthur Morgan could surely see his betrayal coming from a mile away. Like, who else was it going to be selling out your gang to the hated Pinkertons? Your buddy Lenny? The boozy priest? Little Jack Marston? Don't make me laugh.
Okay, guess I'll leave you to it then.
Sure, Uncle Arthur.
And yet, if you want to shoot dead this game's most shootable character, you're going to have to wait 50 or so hours for Micah to be formally outed as a traitorous rat.
Not all you boys have quite so many scruples. Old Micah Bell.
Micah? You mean Molly?
Molly O'Shea? Sweated her a couple of times, never talked a word, had to let her go. Micah Bell. We picked him up when you boys came back from the Caribbean, and he's been a good boy ever since.
Then, you're going to have to die. And only then comes the opportunity to serve Micah his just desserts, by which point you'll be playing as an entirely other character. Although hey, good news for John Marston, and bad news for Micah's crotch.
I don't recognize you. You are new. I remember this scenario, however. It's a strange thing to want to do, to come here. I'm curious what events would lead a person to want to spend their nights in a place like this. Willingly. Maybe curiosity, maybe ignorance.
Five Nights at Freddy's sister location starts with you doing the stupidest thing it's possible for a person to do, taking a night job in a Five Nights at Freddy's game. The job in question is at Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rental, where you're tasked with getting the loaned out animatronics back in working order by electrocuting them.
Uh-oh. It looks like Ballora doesn't feel like dancing. Let's give her some motivation. Press the red button now to administer a controlled shock. Maybe that will put the spring back in her step. Let's check the light again. Excellent.
It also involves a lot more crawling through vents than is ideal, which is to say, any. Of course, as with any job, by the second night of your employment, multiple systems have gone offline and the animatronics are on the rampage, but it seems like one of them is on your side.
There is a space under the desk. Someone before you crafted it into a hiding place, and it worked for him. I recommend that you hurry, though. You will be safe there. Just try not to make eye contact. It will be over soon. They will lose interest.
This is Circus Baby, who is apparently very advanced.
She can dance. She can sing. She's equipped with a built-in helium tank for inflating balloons right at her fingertips. She can take song requests. She can even dispense ice cream.
This being a Five Nights game, you're doubtless suspicious of this animatronic's intentions, but you will nonetheless have to trust her if you're to survive the night shift, as she gives you advice for getting through the murderous ballerina robot Ballora's gallery without getting murdered.
When your guide comes back online, he is going to tell you that he was unsuccessful, that you must restart the system manually. He will then tell you to crawl through Ballora Gallery as fast as you can to reach the breaker room. If you follow his instructions, you will die.
When you return to the building for night 3... Hang on, you went back? I know times are tough, but surely somewhere else is hiring. Anyway, Circus Baby, despite her protestations that she's trying to help you, couldn't be creepier if she were covered in hissing spiders. But every time you think she's about to go mask-off murder robot...
I think they noticed that you never left the building last night. The cameras were searching for you, but they couldn't find you. I have you hidden too well. I kidnapped you.
Something happens to make you think that maybe that's not going to happen.
Don't be afraid. I'm not going to hurt you. I am only going to keep you for a little while.
Right up until the end, when she lures you to somewhere called the scooping room, good start, under the pretense that she wants the bad parts of her scooped out.
Will you help me? I want you to save what is good, so the rest can be destroyed and never recovered.
Only to reveal that she's formed all this location's animatronics into a single gestalt entity known as Enard, and they're going to use the scooper to scoop out your everything so they can get inside your skin and escape the facility undetected.
The scooper only hurts for a moment.
Honestly, what's the world coming to if you can't even trust an objectively terrifying clown animatronic in a Five Nights at Freddy's game to not scoop out your everything?
I'm not saying a Pokemon who looks a bit evil probably is a bit evil, but yeah, actually, I am saying that. That's what I'm saying. Take the Pokemon known as Dusknoir, which looks like a ghost mummy cyclops hybrid with a single glowing red eye. Pretty evil looking. Am I wrong? And yet, when Dusknoir comes onto the scene in Pokemon's spin-off series Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, all the friendly Pokemon totally buy it when they are told this is an heroic and admired explorer. Despite being a ghost mummy cyclops hybrid with a goth gamertag for a name, Dusknoir is welcomed into the fold by the Wholesome Exploration Society and trusting nearby village. These well-intentioned Mons weren't to know that Dusknoir evolved from a tiny Grim Reaper-looking ghost named Duskull, nor that the golden antenna on its head canonically allows it to receive transmissions from the spirit world which tell it to bring people there. Are we sure this is suitable for kids? And if we were feeling particularly generous, we would allow that Dusknoir makes a pretty good show of being a nice guy at first, pursuing the notorious criminal Grovyle, protecting the precious Time Gear, and rescuing you and your Pokepal from a deadly dungeon. It is not altogether the most surprising thing to ever happen though when Dusknoir captures Grovyle and is preparing to escort the thief through a dimensional portal back to the future, where they're from by the way, and Dusknoir pulls a sudden heel turn, grabs you and stuffs you into the time hole, kidnapping you and your poker partner to the future. Ooh, twist! You awake in a dystopian future hellscape where Dusknoir, mask off, is now taking orders from an even more sinister looking entity. You find yourself in a dingy jail cell for undefined time crimes, but hey, at least you're finally wise to Dusknoir's backstabbing nature and things couldn't get any worse. Until they do, when you're taken from your jail cell and tied up in the prison yard to await summary execution. Are we sure this is suitable for kids? That guy came back here.
Ah,
You said thanks.
sweet. Yeah, stand up fella. I told you. And also, I know you're stand-up people as well, so you'll almost certainly want to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, and maybe, if you really want to support us, head over to patreon.com/oxclub to check out the OX Supporters Club. We've also got a couple of videos up here, one from us and one from our sister channel, Outside Extra, for your enjoyment.
Oh, you said all the stuff out of your glove box.
Ah!